like to call this meeting order of the Geneva Historic Preservation Commission for March 18th, 2025. Start with a roll call.
Jensen.
Here.
McManus.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Solomon.
Here.
Stazen. Tobler.
Here.
Zelmer.
Here. We have a quorum. Okay. Next is the approval for meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2025. Any comments or questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, go ahead.
Jensen.
Aye.
McManus.
Abstain.
Phillips.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Tobler.
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is permit review for 218 North Fifth Street, case number 2025-009. You want to take it away?
Hi, everyone.
Jesse.
My name is Jesse Muncy, for all of you who may not know me. I'm the Assistant City Planner here, and for this meeting, I'll be presenting the previous preservation planner's presentation. So I'm just going to be sort of the mouthpiece here and then give it away to the applicants for the most part. Let's go here. 218 North Fifth Street. Let's talk a little bit about the history. So the location and construction. The home at 218 North Fifth Street, sorry, typo there, in Geneva, built in 1885 by Joseph Hayward Mayborn for his daughters Teresa, Clara, Grace, and Etta Irene. Joseph Hayward Mayborn, an English immigrant and a prominent attorney, served as village president and state senator. Family background. His wife, Teresa Johnson, was the daughter of an early Blackberry Township pioneer. Ownership history. After the Mayborns, the home passed to Grace and Etta. Grace moved to California, and Etta later returned to the family home. 1906 purchase. In 1906, William C. Johnson, a freight claim agent, and his wife Minnie purchased the property and made several improvements, including a two-story addition. Ownership timeline. The Johnsons occupied the home until 1954. Architectural significance. The home is notable for its association with these individuals and its Dutch colonial revival architecture. HPC history. In 2013, there was an application for a new secondary structure. In 2015, there was an application for roof replacement of same material shingles. Today's request. The applicant is requesting approval to remove and replace 3 upstairs windows on the front facade. Reason for the request. The applicant is experiencing issues with air and water leakage around their windows. They propose replacing the current windows with identical ones, maintaining similar but different artistic detail. These are the windows identified for replacement. There's some details about the windows here. Casement window and the single hung window. Interior images. And then the proposed replacement. So maybe we can have the applicant take it away from here.
Yeah.
Great.
Is it okay if I get my sample here really quick?
That's fine.
To the esteemed members of the board, we are here this evening to discuss a window replacement project located at 218.
Excuse me, can you just state your name for the record?
My name is Dave Gertler. I'm the owner of Next Wave Construction.
Okay, thank
We are here this evening to discuss a window replacement project located at 218 North Fifth Street. The homeowners, Mr. and Mrs. Ireland, contacted us earlier in January of this year due to their windows located on the east side of their home on their second story. Mr. and Mrs. Ireland had become increasingly frustrated due to the fact that their windows in question were not only rotted but also starting to grow mold, as you can see in the pictures provided. Because of the uniqueness of their windows, they were told by numerous companies that they were unable to provide anything comparable. Their windows not only require a unique design, they also require expert craftsmanship. We have developed a solution that we believe aligns exactly with the SOI standards set forth by this committee. Our plan is to remove all rotted wood to stop any further deterioration, remove the replacement window that, at our best guess, was installed in the late 90s, and install a pocket window that will not only keep the existing frame of the window, but will also keep the aesthetics of the old window. In doing this, we'll be protecting and maintaining the wood in which surrounds the window, making the windows airtight, removing the old and unsightly storm windows, and retaining and preserving the character of the building. It is our hope to move forward with this project and give the customer the energy efficiency they want while also giving their home the aesthetics it deserves. Thank you.
I have a couple questions to
Yeah.
start with, to just kind of get, these are replacement windows? They've already been replaced once?
So, correct. So if you look at the windows, they are not, the windows that are currently there are not original to the home. And the way you can tell that is because they have compression jam liners, which were not around until the 80s. So the windows in question have already been replaced.
Could we take the slides back to the existing windows? I don't know who's got control.
Oh,
Yeah, just so they can, it's just this guy right here. Just go like that.
oh.
Ah, there you go.
And then I also did bring more pictures that I printed out, so that way you can get a clearer view if you would like to see of the compression jam liners that are currently in there, which obviously are not time period correct. And then also too, you can see the mold and deterioration really starting to grow on there.
Do you know whether the art glass was in there in the original windows, or was that added when when it was changed?
So with that being said, it's very hard to know. The
I think
glass.
your microphone
I'm
isn't
sorry.
on. Just turn the little button by the microphone. There should be one on the bottom. Like,
Did I get,
oh, I'm so sorry.
so,
Oh, you gave me the eye sign. I thought
Yeah.
your mic wasn't on.
so what you see in this picture is there's currently lead glass in there. It's lead caming. And the reason why I brought this is because this is not an arched window. It appears to be an arched window, but when you look at the inside, you can see that it's actually a square window with a trim piece that has been put up to give the appearance of an arch, hence the example. So as far as the design and the architecture of the replacement window that we plan on putting in there, this is, just to be clear, this is a complete mock draft that we built from scratch. This is not a finished product. We just wanted to give you an example of what it is that will look like. So it's gonna pay homage to what's in there currently, and we have to create a very custom trim piece to match that arch trim piece that's on there now. There's also storm windows on that window, aluminum storm windows, that are very unsightly, which has created the mold issue. Because of that trim piece that they currently have, they cannot operate that window properly. So what they have is leaking coming in, and the storm window capturing all that humidity, and it's created a huge mold issue for the homeowner.
Are you saying that you created this pattern and that you would have the flexibility to modify it?
So that is correct.
Okay.
As far as the pattern goes, and you can see it in the spec sheet that we provided, this is the spec sheet for the two side windows, and it doesn't show very clear on the screen, but that is the top sash of the middle window. And you can see that as far as the other window goes, it's not an exact replica of what's currently in there, but it's a very close one that definitely pays homage to the tradition, to the styling that they have currently.
So the windows are not from 1906 when the second story was put on?
No, they did not. When this home was built, the windows would have had weights with a pulley system in the actual jambs. There's, and I have a picture here, it's not on here. I have a picture that shows that it clear as day has compression jam liners, which did not come around until the 80s and really didn't, I mean, that's when those were used.
Okay, so you're thinking the windows are probably from the 80s?
At least.
Based on everything, we think that the windows were replaced somewhere in the 90s, but,
Okay.
you know, it's very hard to tell.
I do have another question. In our packet, it said that there was under HBC history, probably not for you, but HBC history, in 2013, there was an application for new secondary structure. What was that? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I think it was a
Like-
garage, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say something not attached.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a shed.
A shed, okay.
I have the whole permit history of the home right here as well, too.
I'm wondering, like, I'm looking at the original picture, there's two pictures on the front cover here, and I'm wondering whether that leaded glass is even in that first picture.
Right.
And I don't see it really, because I think I would see,
Well, I can't even tell.
it's hard to tell,
It's a little dark.
and I can't zoom in for some reason, so.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like,
Are you-
we're even wondering if that's a detail that's original to the house to even try to mimic it.
Yeah,
Um,
is it leaded glass right now?
So where you see the actual designs, that is what's called caming, and that is lead. The actual glass, the actual windows are single pane windows, so they're not even thermal pane windows.
Okay,
And in that top sash and in the two windows
Side,
to
yeah.
each side, that design is made from actual lead.
So it's like a divided light?
Exactly.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm just wondering whether that was original to the house or not.
And that seems a little,
Finicky?
yeah, it seems like a lot considering, I don't think it would have been there in the first place.
Because I actually, in my home, I actually had leaded glass like that. And I was able to take the leaded glass and then sandwich it in between and make insulated glass between it.
Very much like what we did to
Yeah,
make this mock draft.
but I
yeah.
used the original leaded glass to do that.
The issue we would encounter in doing that is when you really dive deep into this. I'm actually glad the homeowner isn't here because I'm kind of calling their baby ugly at this point. But the install was very shoddy. So what we run the risk of at that point trying to do that, we have to replace some wood. I mean, it is rotted, it is
Yeah.
molded, it is bad. When we take out that frame and everything, because of that lead and how heavy it can be, we run the risk of breaking the glass. We can't guarantee taking apart the frame and trying to create a thermal pane out of it to give them energy efficiency. We're gonna preserve the glass, and then we're left with the problem, well, now we have to plug that hole with something.
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot of effort to mimic something that is irrelevant in the whole historic end of things. And if they like it, I mean, that's something else, but then I would say that pattern's a little aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they're not historic, though. I mean, they're in the HPC's Guide to Windows on our webpage. They're called historic windows. We don't really have any information that indicates that they wouldn't be. The fact that they have that leaded glass, to me, seems like that would be something that would be older than the 1980s or 1990s. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I think that square pane underneath the rounded one in the middle probably is newer, and that's maybe why it has the compression sides on it.
So are
Which,
you- are you
that could
thinking
have been
that
put
somebody
in
re-
at some later date, like the 80s or 90s, and the other glass may have, predated that significantly, couldn't it have?
Maybe
Well,
it was
yeah.
a repurpose of some original glass or something.
And to be fair, they still make leaded glass. That's not something that's obsolete. It's still done.
Sure.
There's no place in a 50-mile radius around here that does it. However, that is still something that can be created. But with that being said, if you say the term lead to a homeowner, they immediately feel unsafe 99% of the time. So I know they do have young children, things along those lines that they're trying to be cautious of. It's what we've created is the most feasible economical solution to an issue where the homeowner has tried repeatedly to have people come out and has been turned away by multitudes of contractors, and we were willing to take it on just because we're a local company and, you know, we want to help whoever and wherever we can. And we think that this is a very viable and feasible solution that, again, when you look at it from the street, from the curb, it's going to still share the same aesthetic appeal, if not more, than what the current windows are serving.
So typically, I think we ask for, and I think it's in the checklist for window replacement, a cost estimate to repair the windows. Do you have that? Did the homeowner get a cost for repair?
And they tried, and again, they were told no, that people just did not want to do it. How many people they tried repair versus all that, I don't know. I don't have that information. But the homeowner, when we initially had the consultation, was basically almost in tears because of how frustrated they had become with the whole process of trying to create something that works for them.
Do you know if she tried to call people on the list that Geneva provides?
I do not. I do
Okay.
not. I don't know who she called.
Could the glass that you're gonna make, could it replicate what's there now? Not with the lead, but whatever you have on the
pattern.
inside
Yeah,
there,
the
the
same
pattern.
exact pattern. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where I'm headed to, is if the pattern could be exactly the same, I would have a lot less issue with it, especially since it seems like it was a replacement window to start with, but I don't know,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, that's what I was kinda getting at earlier, is if we're gonna replicate it, then replicate it. I think this is probably more than you needed to do. And if it could just look like that in scale size, the whole thing, because that's really what we're trying to do here, is just like mirror what was happening in the past.
Right.
And so, yeah, you don't have to necessarily come with a new pattern, but just like, this is the way it is, this is how far apart they are, that's, you know, the angle, this is how it comes together at the top, all those details. That'd be great if you could just do that as an option for something that, you know, we're considering here.
Yeah,
But you said you have the potential to change the pattern, don't
yeah,
you?
we can change the pattern. As far as can we replicate that exactly, I would have to get out my software and play around with it.
Seems a lot easier than what you have.
Yeah, no,
That's very aggressive.
The reason why we built this is just to really show that it looks like an arched window here,
Yeah, I was wondering about
but
that.
yeah, it is not an arched window at all. It's a complete.
Is that upper sash not even operable, though?
The upper sash is not only not operable, you can only move the bottom sash open by about an inch.
Oh,
Because they
So-
can't
You think it
pass
was
by.
operable at one time with weights?
It may have been. I honestly, I think that what happened was, when you look at the exterior of the home, you can see that arch, and I mean, again, looking at the exterior, you can't tell that that's a square window.
Right.
I think what happened was whomever did the replacement window, we like to call them chucks in the trucks where I'm from, you know, a guy just slapped something in there to give it that same aesthetic appeal, and he got away with it, so, you know, it is.
I
what
would
it-
suspect that square one below the arched one probably had linear features in it to match the upper also
Yeah.
at one time before somebody broke that and then Chuck came in and put that window.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So-
So can I ask, what is the state of those two side windows? Are they having just thermal problems and not the molding and moisture problems? How is,
Yeah, so there's no mold on those frames yet. They are experiencing, I mean, you can see even in this picture, there's condensation on the interior, and that's not because they're so energy efficient, it's because, you know, moisture's getting in. So they're having the same issues. We don't know the extent yet, because in order to find out how much is really in there, there's only one way, you have to take them out. Our suspicion is that we're gonna be rebuilding some framing in those windows as well too. But the whole goal and the reason why we want to ensure that we're doing a pocket on this one is to preserve as much of the original home as possible.
right,
That is our end goal, which aligns exactly with what you, and that's the homeowner's end goal too. And I think the homeowner, she picked this design, I think because she wanted to be in her mind, and, you know, it's obviously subjective, it's more aesthetically appealing to her, and she was kind of in the same thought process of, hey, you know, we're kind of trying to keep the same theme going, but I can absolutely see if we can make it exactly how it is right there.
On both the casements and the.
Yeah, if I can do it on one, I can do it on all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would be much more palatable to the committee to do that, unless, I mean,
I mean, as close as feasibly possible.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you can, I think if you could do that, you probably could do, if you have the ability to be custom on that, that's within the 2 panes of glass, basically?
Yeah, so, that's actually, we actually made that with electrical tape, believe it or not, so, like I said, just like what you had done with your window, we, at our shop, we created a thermal painting, we wanted to give you as close as a representation as possible, but really, we wanna emphasize on that trim piece up there, because there's a challenge that we have to face of how do we create a trim piece for a double hung window and have the window operating without that trim piece getting in the way.
So what will the final material be that would be formerly the lead and the leaded glass? What will,
It's what's called art glass, it's essentially just painted on there. It's in between the panes of glass and everything, but it's a art glass. So
Okay.
there's no lead, there's no caming, it's strictly there
No
for us.
electrical tape?
Yeah, no electrical tape,
and what would that color be?
black.
What is the lead color now on that, on the design?
Silver.
For the most part, is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
silver or is it?
It's supposed to have that, what is that, like, brushed nickel or whatever it's called, it's supposed to have that look to it, but obviously the years have been, it's seen better days, so it's, dirty would, I guess, be the most accurate representation of what it is now. And the other important thing too is when we do replace the window, we're gonna be able to get rid of the storm windows on the current front of the house too, which, when you look at it, I mean, I'm not a designer by any means or stretch of imagination, but I can tell you it will look significantly better without the storm windows on there, especially seeing as though those definitely weren't on there in the 1850s when the home was built.
What does the rest of the commission think about the color on the inside?
I'd rather it not be black, to tell you the truth, but
Is that an option to change it from something other than black? or-
I can see, I mean, I know that we can, one of the designs that we've done for a customer previously is like a Captain America shield, where it had red and stuff like that, but the actual outline of it was black. So I can see if we can change the actual outlining colors. I can't promise that, but I can, the one thing I'm 85% confident about is that we can get either that design or dang near close to that design. But as far as what the caming color would be, so to speak, in this case, I believe, you know, it's like the Model T, right? You can have any color you want as long as it's black. So, yeah.
so Kevin, were you thinking something like an iron color?
Well, I'm looking at it now, and, you know, it's been discolored, and I know that the trim colors can change, but it does match the trim at this point in time. You know, I'm not,
Is it just?
either way, I'm not really, you know, sure what it should be.
yeah.
Even if you could only do black, if you could replicate that design, I would be happy with that, I think.
Plus, it's a significant distance from the street too,
Exactly.
so it's not
It's
like.
on the second floor, it's not on the,
I agree with you, Kevin.
Do you need to go back to the homeowner with that and
Yeah,
get approval, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're changing the design in which she picked, then we would absolutely have to get her approval before we just went through with it. Now, with that being said, she's I believe they bought the house in 2008. They've been living with that design this long, and, you know, it's a matter of, hey, we can get rid of the mold and you'll have energy efficient windows and it's gonna look great. All we have to do is change the design to what you've been living with for the past however many years. I can't imagine much feedback, but also too, I can't speak for the homeowner.
Yeah, well, and it just feels better. I think that, I think that's part of the deal, is it's, you know, it looks like this right now, and then when you're done, it looks like it did before, only, you know, with some
Better.
efficiency there. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Are there any other windows in that house that have that kind of pattern, or just those three right
No,
there?
it's just those windows.
Pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah, they look great from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's why I made sure to bring, again, this, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, could I see those
Yeah.
real quick? Just,
There's just molding, you can see the compression kits in there as well, too.
yeah.
Well, and I also think you got pretty lucky on this one, because I was thinking these were the original windows from 1906. And had they been the original windows, then we would have had more of a debate here going on, and we would have probably required an estimate for repairs on the original. But since they're not the original windows, you got yourself a pretty lucky day for that.
Are those existing, the flanking windows, those aren't even operable at this point, right?
They were at one point, they are no longer operable.
so what's our message?
Well, I think the message is that it's, as long, I think we don't have an issue with it as long as you can match the existing detail
Yeah.
of the art glass, I think. And I'd like to see whether you can change the color to something slightly not just black, and see whether it's something available in dark gray or something like that that would mimic the,
Yeah, make it look like it was leaded glass.
yeah. And, but I'm not sure that black would be a deal breaker for, you know.
Yeah, if it's our only choice.
Agreed.
Yeah. So.
So would we approve this with stipulations,
We'd
or
prove
would
it-
you like to
we'd
come
prove it
back
with
after you talk to
stipulations, and then if the homeowner has a problem with it, she'd probably have to come back, we'd have to come back and discuss
It
it.
would literally, I mean, I can literally have if you guys can approve it with stipulation, imagine it, I can literally have that for you guys by before noon tomorrow, a redesign of what it would look like and everything along those lines, so.
Yeah.
Well,
we can be pretty
I'm more
expedient.
concerned about the homeowner not
Right.
approving it than, I'm not worried about you getting it worked out.
So is that one of the stipulations, pending homeowner approval and pending design corresponding with existing pattern?
Yeah, I think that's it, because, but I don't, if the homeowner doesn't approve it, I don't know, I think we have to almost come back or something.
Yeah.
I can provide I can provide an email or something from the homeowner after I submit the design to her.
Yeah, that would be probably just be best, is that we clearly know
Yeah.
that's the way it's going. So what, I think our motion should include that both the homeowner approval and the
Design and the color.
design and the color. And the color being optional, but preferred.
Preferred.
I'll let them know that, hey, you live in a historical home, it's probably best to do the preferred things by the Historical Society, so.
Yeah,
And it'll look better, you know,
Yeah.
it will, just be a lighter handed design.
yeah.
That just seems a little too busy
It's
to
very
me,
aggressive,
at least.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know everybody's got a different opinion, she likes that, but, you know.
yeah. So who wants to put together the motion? And
I'll try.
very good.
All right, here we go. So I move to approve the permit review for 218 North Fifth Street with the stipulation that we have a redesign of the pattern that was presented to us to more accurately replicate the existing window design. And also stipulating that the homeowner approve of that design. And that we would prefer, the commission would prefer, that the finish of the design be more in a leaded, well, what am I saying? More of a lead, dark gray color, black being the last option.
Second.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Tobler,
Aye.
Selmer.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Have a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
I didn't see Al. I did not see Al.
Okay. All right, so next up is 501 Hamilton Street. The permit review is for property building addition and rehabilitation on contributing structure. A little bit about the history. The original owners were John J. and Julia Kelly. Julia, a widow, sold 2 lots to W.H. Smith in 1884 for $200. Property sale. In 1892, W.H. Smith sold the property to Charles Frederick Sunleaf, a Swedish immigrant, for $600. Charles Sunleaf. These are really cheap prices, guys. Moved to Geneva in 1883, married Scene, maybe? Peterson in 1886, and likely built a 2-story house on the property with a mortgage in the same year. Family ownership. The house stayed in the Sunleaf family for many years. Carl F. Sunleaf, Charles's son, inherited the property after his mother's death in 1929. In 1933, Carl converted the house into a duplex, renting the lower flat. Change of ownership. In 1952, Genevieve and Maurice Mann bought the property, investing $2,500 in improvements. They owned it until around 1960. Commercial use. By the 2010s, the first floor housed several businesses, including Blitz Realty Group until 2011, and later Geneva Financial Corporation since 2013. Historical significance. A 1999 Historic Resource Survey noted significant modifications to the structure, but it remains a contributing property to the Geneva Historic District. Okay. HPC history. In 2004, there was a freestanding sign proposal. Again, 2004, proposed ADA accessible entrance. In 2008, a removal, widening, and replacement of the driveway. In 2023, there was a concept review for this proposal that we discussed today. But the 2023 concept review explicitly says the applicant proposed demolishing the existing garage and for a new garage to be incorporated into the proposed western addition to the house. The new garage will be part of the planned property expansion. Additionally, the applicant intended to relocate the primary entrance of the house to face North 5th Street. The northern addition to the house was also proposed to provide extra living space. I'll give you a second to look at that up there. And 23. All right. Now the modern project. Project overview. The applicant seeks approval of a demolition, addition, and rehabilitation plan for a contributing structure in the Geneva Historic District. The project involves rehabilitating the home's exterior and interior, including relocating the entrance, demolishing a non-historic detached garage, as in 2023, adding an attached garage with living space above to the west side of the building, and a 2-story addition on the north side of the building. Important, put in bold. The Illinois State Historic Preservation Office has approved the project, as it aligns with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, standards that the Historic Preservation Commission also follows when reviewing permits. This rehabilitation will create more living space for a family while preserving the structure's historic integrity and maintaining the neighborhood's aesthetic. Let's see if there's any more. Now there are some plans here which the applicant can go back and forth on. Just want to make sure I know where the end is. Okay, great. So let's stop right there, and then the applicant can come up and talk about their proposal.
Good evening. My name's Matthew Mayer. I'm the owner of 501 Hamilton, and will be, I guess, kind of presenting the update of where we're at with the plans and the project, and answer any questions that you might have. So I guess kind of the update from the last time. So actually, I think that was maybe a typo. It was 2024 when we were previously here with a preliminary review of the project, detailed with that scope and paragraph on that slide. So with that being said, since that meeting and now, we've had several conversations with state representatives, representatives, that sounds a little bit extreme, but like we've had several conversations with historic preservation at the state in order to try to obtain or understand what their requirements were going to be for obtaining the tax freeze on this property and the construction. There's been a couple of iterations, and many of those changes actually aligned with the feedback that this commission gave us as well. So with that, I'm going to kind of bounce through here. So I think that these two elevations were the main areas of focus. One of the comments that was brought to our attention when we were here last was that the roof lines of the two additions actually exceeded what the existing home elevation or roof line was at. So those have been reduced in order to reduce the massing. So massing was another concern that the commission brought up, and we feel like we pretty well addressed that in this new design. We also added in some dormers and reduced the roof plate, which I learned about in the last meeting, and achieved that and completed that with adding the dormers in order to lower the plate, lower the roof line, and also create that differentiation between design of what's existing and what's proposed. One of the things that the state actually instructed us on is the lapping and the materials. I know that we had talked about maybe using different materials when we were here last in order to differentiate between existing and new. They had actually encouraged us to try to use something that would match lapping in order to try to have a little bit of that synergy between the two. We're still planning to use smooth LP on the addition, and I think that that's detailed here in the plans. Outside of those items, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was a highlight that was a takeaway, but I guess these plans have been sealed and submitted to the city for building permit approval. That was completed by myself last week, in hopes to try to be able to get the project shovel ready and approved for starting construction, within the next month or two. That being said, also we've gotten part 1 and part 2 approval from the state. So essentially, as long as we construct the project as it's shown in the plans, we will successfully be able to apply for and complete part 3 and obtain the state tax freeze for historic preservation on the project. With that, I don't know if there's anything that Brad would like to add on architectural details or revisions, but that's kind of where we're at.
Sure. I'm Brad Salins with BDS Architecture. I was in here a few months ago with you guys. The only thing that I'll highlight that Matt didn't discuss is the separation of the original structure compared to the new addition. We did pull the garages out a little bit and get that separation. I don't know if I have a pointer here or not. Is there anything to point at it, or? Is that this? There we go. So this little gap in here, it's hard to see because it printed very lightly, separates the structure that we're adding on from the new home. The back sides, we kept everything plate height up, roof lines up, but we did break that down on the 2 street side elevations. And that was one of the things that the commission had asked for as well. Otherwise, Matt covered everything very well.
On the existing siding, you're salvaging the existing siding on the rest of the house?
Correct. It's currently on there. It's had a lot of work done to it, but it's on there. It's in decent shape.
Okay.
So we won't be messing with that except for areas that we're touching and connecting to.
So, do you know, could you tell us what it's made of and what the lap exposure is?
It's currently wood siding. It did have, I believe, aluminum siding installed over it at one point. Some of the trim and some of the utilities connections still have that behind it. The lap, I want to say, is like 2.5, 2 3/4. It's a smaller lap siding. Might be 3 inches. It's a little bit smaller than the 4-inch revealed comment today.
So you won't be able to replicate that on the additions, right?
No, and my understanding was that they don't want us to replicate it. They want us to kind of mimic it, but keep it different with the existing structure in the new addition.
I do remember when Matt came before us in December, he did talk about the siding and that he would not be doing anything with the original siding on the front of the house. And he understands the process that he needs to go through, if and when he decides to redo that siding. So thank you for all the time that you put into this, both of you, and for going to Darius and getting all these things approved.
Sure.
I think you kind of hit it right where we wanted to be, because I think dropping the eave height on the front of the garage, I think helps quite a bit. And I think that's exactly what, you can kind of still see the existing house behind or instead of, and away from the garage, and especially on the east elevation, the upper different siding is gonna help too, I think. I think that'll be a good, clean differentiation between the two different houses, the two different times of the addition versus the existing. So I don't really have any, do you have any, does anyone else have anything specific that
No, it's
Kevin would?
I think you did a great job in, addressing the concerns, and I'm glad that.
Thank you. We got good feedback from you guys and the state, and
Yeah.
a lot of it was very consistent, so that
Yeah.
helps my job tremendously, so.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna ask one more siding question. Can't resist. So what will be the lap exposure on the additions?
Did you select that?
I think it's intended to match as close as we can to that 2.5, 2 3/4.
So you're gonna use Hardy or LP or?
Yeah, it'll be an LP smooth product.
And so what's on the existing home, I'm assuming will be similar to what was on the Peyton house, where it varies, right? It might be 2.5 here, 5 feet up, it might be 2 1/4, and we're gonna try to.
if you're gonna talk, you should come up to the podium, I'm sorry.
We're gonna have a consistent lap at probably 2.5, and what we'll use is smooth LP, which essentially is like a pressed plywood, right? So the contractor will be able to rip it to, or cut it to whatever lap we want it to be at.
Alright.
So it's not gonna necessarily align identically with every board that's on the existing house. We're gonna have to pick just a consistent lap and then run that up the proposed additions.
Right, you have corner boards too, right, so you.
Right, so there'll be breaks.
There'll be a break.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, you go on the inside corner on the addition side, on the Fifth Street side, which will help too.
Right.
Okay.
Are we making a motion, or are you still thinking, Paul?
No, I think, I don't, unless you have any more siding
No,
questions?
I do not have any more siding.
More window questions, or? Actually, the windows, are they gonna be, what are they, what type of window are they on the addition?
They
Or
are-
are they all, are we replacing all the windows, or just?
The current home windows are staying. There is one that's getting replaced back to the original.
Yeah,
It has been modified and off-center, and it's a double or maybe even a triple now, I forget. But we're taking that one, it's right here, for reference.
back to the,
This one right here to line back up and match everything else around it. Otherwise, we're not changing windows on the existing home, we're just adding new windows to the
Okay.
proposed additions.
and what's the material? Is it gonna be a aluminum clad wood window, or is it a?
Proposed is gonna be Marvin Elevate, I believe, which
Is
has
that a,
been approved, yeah, previously.
is that a wood window? or-
It is a wood frame, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then I think that the second floor windows, we presume to be original. They still have the same lead ballasts with the rope on them, so we're gonna preserve those and keep those in place, insulate around them, and probably add storms on the outside. But
I guess I do have one more siding question. The addition on the north side there has you have a board across, a belt across it, and then you've got shakes above that. How is that gonna be constructed? Is it the shakes that are in a tile, or are they individual shakes that will be, do you know?
I don't, unless you've made that selection, but
it's another LP product.
Right.
So it's not gonna be, it won't be individual shakes. It'll be tiles or panels. I haven't seen the actual product yet, to be honest with you. But it's an LP product.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, how, maybe 6 feet, and it's got four
Yep.
tiles or shakes on it.
I actually like the use of that, because that detail isn't anywhere on the existing house, right?
Right.
correct.
So that does kind of signify that it's the addition, so. At least that's my opinion,
I agree.
so. Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the application as presented on 501 Hamilton Street, case number 2025-014.
I second.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Tobler,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you very much,
Good deal. Thank you all.
looks good.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Give everybody a second. Okay. Next is 418 South Fifth Street, proposed siding replacement. The applicant is seeking approval to replace the siding on a contributing property. Project overview. The Historic Preservation Commission reviewed the proposed siding replacement during its December meeting. The discussion was continued to January meeting to allow the applicant to provide additional information. At the January meeting, the commission requested clear estimates for the project. The applicant submitted 2 estimates, one for repairing and replacing the siding with in-kind cedar siding, which totals $90,490, and another for repairing and replacing the siding with LP siding, which amounts to $62,720. According to the applicant, over 50% of the existing siding is unsalvageable and needs to be replaced. Ultimately, the HPC denied the request, and the applicant appealed to City Council, where the HPC decision was upheld. For this meeting, the applicant is once again requesting to replace the historic siding on a contributing structure with new estimates. And then we have some of the summaries of the siding estimates. And then some of the, Oh, I'm sorry.
Could you just go back? Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
I was just, okay, thank you.
yes. And then we have the plans here, which the applicant can discuss, some of the photos and descriptions, or the photos of the siding. And that's about it, so.
Hey guys, I'm TJ with KNS General Contracting. It's good to see you guys again.
You can come up too?
Okay, and I'm Julie Hughes, I'm the homeowner.
So as you know, we're back. We came once, we came twice, we got denied, we went to the appeal process. The appeal was not overturned based on the language in the appeal, but at that appeal meeting, we got a bunch of great information on what you guys were actually looking for. The first time they came to you, I didn't understand the detail that you were looking for within the repair estimate. I didn't include some of the ancillary trim, the additional shoe trims, like the batten trim at the bottom of the level freeze. It's not really a belly band, it's towards the bottom on the windowsills, and then all of the bevel trim where the freeze board meets the soffit. And I didn't include the scraping and the painting for the rest of the house either. I had only included the replacement of the boards that needed to be replaced with them being painted. So, as you guys stated to me at that time, that you denied for the main reason being that the cost of repair wasn't significantly more than the cost of the replacement. At that appeal meeting, we got a bunch of great feedback from the alder people, a lot of them who saw the case and did agree with us replacing it, but just gave us advice on how to better present that to you with more details. So that's what we're back here doing today, as well as some members on the HBC panel too, and a nice conversation afterwards. So I guess what I'm saying is I wasn't made prepared for what was expected in the details of the repair estimate versus the replacement estimate or the replacing kind estimate. So I went back and I reworked those with more detail, more accurate pricing, and that's what I'm presenting today.
So can you go back to the backup one? Yeah, that's the.
And there's a typo here. The repair and replace on January 25th was actually all new cedar in kind, that $90,000. So that's just a small typo. The $90,000 to $106,000 is that difference in that extra trim that we were talking about. I think there's a total of just shy of 600 feet of it.
Right, I think in January, the repair and replace was like 60,000.
Right, yeah, correct.
400
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was almost the same.
It was almost.
It was
the
like
same.
a 15,
Yeah. It was-
$1,700 less.
Correct. So that January 2025 that you guys are looking at, that repair and place should have actually said all new cedar. There should have been a second line that said repair and place, which was right around that $62,000 number.
Yeah.
The new repair and place number includes those trim, those ancillary trim pieces as we discussed at the appeal meeting, and then also the scraping and painting of the entire house, which is the reason for the price increase.
I would agree that that should be in there. Don't you agree, Kevin, that painting?
Yeah.
I mean, that the scraping, the painting probably should be in that repair and replace.
Because you get,
The original one was literally to take out the bad boards and put new bad boards in that were painted. That's how it was kind of described to me that you were looking for, which I felt hodgepodge, but that was what I was under the
Okay.
understanding of. It's very possible that I misunderstood the direction as well. There's nobody to blame here. I just, now after several meetings with you guys, I think I finally got it right as to what you're actually looking for in a repair contract.
so at the meeting at City Council, I came away from that and with the understanding that they were kind of hoping that you would come back with some type of hybrid estimate where, you know, some of the original siding on the front and maybe, you know, the older part of the house would be repaired and that siding, for instance, on the back, that's a newer addition, would be an LP. Did you discuss that with your client or did you not get that understanding from the City Council?
I didn't necessarily get it as a must-have. I think it was discussed hypothetically, and then we acknowledged that the majority of the bad boards are in the front, and it's not what I want. I don't want mixed material.
It was presented, I thought, as like one option, one way to pursue this, but it just still didn't seem like a viable
So you
option
didn't
to
do
us.
that because you don't want any part of
We
that?
discussed it, it was just not the goal of the project. Yeah. And also, it's a weird thing because really that side that you're seeing there with the bump out, that's also street level or visible from the street. So it's not one of these like far back set homes where like you just see the front elevation and the left and right elevations are hidden. That left elevation is still pretty visible. And in fairness, if the trees on the right were cut down, that right elevation would be visible
Right.
too.
No, I understand
So the
that,
hybrid
yeah.
would be really small at that point, Kevin, and like it just didn't seem like it made much sense. I still think the goal here is to try to update the home with new LP.
Right, that's always been the goal for you. I understand that, yeah.
We got that.
Yep.
Yeah, I do see that, and I don't think the numbers haven't changed on the front of the elevation, right? Which would be the front elevation, which is, I think, 2 or 3 in. where it says 13 of 58 salvageable.
Yeah, the front is bad. That's right, and I just went back to the house today too, before I came here, and just was like, really kind of counting all the boards that even might be salvageable, and it's just like, I got this feeling that I'm gonna be here with you guys every 6 months or every year, because as those salvageable boards become unsalvageable, their life is not far behind what I am deeming in this moment to be unsalvageable. And there was another alderman who sat where you're sitting, George, I think, and he brought up the point of potential collateral damage too of replacing boards, like, to basically try to build into the contract a potentiality of 10% damage on quote salvageable boards now, while I'm trying to replace unsalvageable boards. So the can of worm aspect, right? Like, I guess that's like colloquial. The can of worm aspect for this house is worrisome if we go down that repair route.
Did you
as well.
include that discovery in your new costs?
I included a line for discovery, and also I sent a cover letter too with the contract.
I see the cover letter, but I don't see the line.
Yeah. And if I didn't put it in the contract, it's a simple thing to do, but I included it in the cover letter as well.
So, can you, the difference between the cost for repair in January to this presentation is about $23,000,
Yeah.
right? So, can you break that down for us, what that increase includes,
Well, it includes complete scraping and painting of the entirety of the home,
right?
and then it includes I think about 600 linear feet of this extra trim that also needs to be painted and installed.
Okay, so is that comprise all of the
Yeah,
trim,
that
the
does not
the
include-
millwork? I mean, you wouldn't keep any of the existing trim?
Well, none of the
millwork?
soffit and fascia, because I think 100% of that beadboard needs to be.
No, I'm talking about
replaced.
the millwork, the custom millwork.
But that's what I'm saying. At the freeze board of the beadboard and the soffit is the entire is 265 linear feet of trim up there. So that's 100% replaceable. And then all of the level freezes at the bottom all have like a batten strip at the bottom too, and all of those boards need to be replaced.
So basically, you would put all new millwork
Yeah.
on the repair and
Yeah.
replace cost?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we go and look at the cost for full cedar replacement back in January, which was 90,000. And we look at what you have now, it's 106. The only difference there is the millwork. So that difference is like almost $16,000 to replace that millwork. But, so I'm thinking that 16,000 needs to be in that 23. That only leaves you 7 for scraping and painting the house.
Yeah, I took no profit on the scrape and paint. That's basically just straight labor from my crew.
But that's a good point. I think scrape and paint would be a lot more, based on what I've already paid twice to have it scraped and painted.
What, can I ask what you paid for that?
So I moved into the house in 2009. I don't remember the exact years I did it. I think I did it early on, and then I did it a second time.
If you
when
could
I
move
both
to
times-
the microphone.
I thought I talked so loud you didn't need my. Both times were right around $10,000.
Okay.
I don't have an exact figure, but they were no less than 10.
Yeah.
And given that the last time was quite a while ago, and what we all know, inflation has done to pricing, I'm assuming it would cost considerably more than 10 now.
Okay, and I think there's a question that kind of has been missed, we haven't asked before. Is the siding, the LP siding that you're proposing, is that the wood grain or is that the smooth?
Wood grain.
I-
I don't think the product right now is smooth. It's a.
Well, our requirement is to go back with the smooth, because that's what would been, I think a lot of the wood grain comes back because of the fact that it
looks like it's damaged.
looks like it's damaged, and it's
So
after.
that's not an issue at all. The only issue why I put the cedar mill in is because the pre-finishing company in Edmond Allen, they stopped finishing smooth LP and smooth Hardy out of that lumber yard. They were getting pooling, and so they just stopped doing it. I can still get the smooth pre-finish from LP and their expert finish. That doesn't change price, and that's not a problem. And as Julie just said, she doesn't mind it aesthetically.
Okay.
Okay, so we would prefer the smooth, I think.
Yeah,
Is that-
that's what, smooth is what we're looking for. Yeah.
Smooth is not a problem too, and you want smooth, then I'm assuming on all corner boards and
Oh,
everything else.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intent of it.
The only reason that originally I said Cedar Mill is because a lot of homeowners like to go the custom route, and Edmund Allen finishes in Sherwin-Williams color catalog, but they had stopped pre-finishing in smooth for many years.
So you say that's not gonna change your price?
No, because when you get a board from LP, it comes painted, you pay that premium to come from them painted. Otherwise, I buy it cheaper primed, and then I make up the difference at the lumber yards. The boards end up being, if not the same, dollars apart per plank.
Okay, because, I mean, usually the smooth does, the board itself, whether, even if it's not painted, is a little more expensive
Yeah.
than the cedar.
No, not a problem. Not according to my distributor, because I have another homeowner, non-historic, in a different town that's looking for smooth, and I just got pricing, and I didn't make any alterations for that. So I don't know if I'm lucky with my pricing at my distributor or not, but
Okay.
no, smooth is not a problem, guys.
I just want to add one comment. I did watch the city council, and I just want to reiterate that we are not trying to be difficult, but we are trying to follow our ordinances and our standards. And we do look at each case very individually, and we try to meet the needs of all the applicants, but we do have guidelines that we have to follow. So we're not trying to be difficult with you, or you in the process and what you want to do to your home, but Geneva is a beautiful city, like we all know, and part of it is because of the historic area. And we want to keep that area beautiful and attractive to everybody, especially the homeowner. So we really want to work with you, but we really have to focus on what we have to focus on with our guidelines and ordinances. But thank you so much for coming back as many times as you have, and for going to the city council and getting their feedback as well.
Yeah, because this is proof that I don't find you difficult at all. I find you particular in a rightful manner, and I want to get it right with you guys. I wouldn't keep coming back if I didn't want to work with you. Right? I'm trying to figure out what you're looking for, and if I can provide that, do it. And if we couldn't, Julie and I would have talked and said, Julie, I can't meet what they want, and you're gonna have to wait a few years. But we just didn't come away from that. We also came away from a lot of the alder people telling us that they really want people, even in the historic district, to be able to make improvements on their homes. It's just got to go through certain ways to have that done. We took that advice. We met with Mr. DeGroot before this meeting as well, and got some advice on what to include in these contracts to hopefully come to a deal and be able to work with you guys. So
And
it
likewise-
was all positive.
Yeah, likewise, I didn't find any part of the process difficult. If anything, I found it very educational. And I like the fact that I live in the historic district. That's why I bought in this area, because I wanted to have a feeling that every house didn't look like the next one, and we weren't all cookie cutters. I came actually from a historic neighborhood in Chicago, so I love that aspect of where we live.
Any comments from that side of
That side of the table. Well, you guys cover a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just say, the way I look at this in terms of the costing now is that, this millwork is, we're gonna lose that with the LP siding. It's gonna be gone, right? There's no
millwork?
custom millwork.
No.
All right, so that's $16,000. So in the repair cost, that's really not necessary. That shouldn't, in my mind, shouldn't be in the repair cost because it's not a requirement. It's not part of the, the millwork, the trim that's necessary. So if you were to take that 16,000 out of your 83 where you're at now, you're still about $5,000 more to repair than to fully replace with the LP siding, which.
Yeah, but there's some validity to that, but there's also some trickery to that, because even though all the soffits need to be replaced, not every frieze board needs to be replaced. And so if I remove that millwork in between that soffit and that frieze board, I have a chance of damaging the frieze board below it. The level friezes on the bottom, they sit like this, and on top of it is a perpendicular 2-inch batten strip. If I were to remove this board and put this new board there, I would either have to rip a custom-sized board to fill that gap now in between the siding, or to keep the home looking like it is and repairing it as it is, I would need to replace that batten strip to make up that 2-inch gap. So there's still something extra needing to be done to create either the look of what it is or to get around the look of what it is. So it's not one for one. Especially especially up at that soffit part. Not every freeze board needs to be replaced, but every soffit does, and that quarter round is attached to both. So something's going to get damaged, and that just leads again into the idea of the scary part of at least 10% of discovery. And we're just talking about trim. I'm not even starting to talk about the flanking planks. You know, forget my rhyme, but the flanking planks around the boards that I am replacing.
Okay.
Any comments, George? No? Not offhand.
So just going back to what Kevin was saying, so all the millwork has to come off and be replaced, is that what we're saying? I'm just looking at these pictures here.
Anywhere a trim board needs to come off that has millwork attached to it, that millwork has to come off. There is some trim, I think it was about 70% of the trim and 100% of the soffit and fascia that needed to be replaced. So if there's 30% of the trim boards that have millwork attached to them that don't need to be replaced, then that millwork does not need to be removed. And in that case, then what do? So let's say I have a section of that level frieze on the bottom, and let's say 50% of that level frieze is rotted and needs to get replaced, and the other side doesn't. Now, I don't need to remove that batten strip on this side, but I clearly need to replicate it now with the new board that I'm putting on. Otherwise, it's going to be uneven. So in my opinion, I just think if you're going to do this, you just do it that way. That any trim board that gets removed, the millwork gets removed with it and gets put back. And it's on all of the window tops, and it's on all of the level frieze. And then the beveled quarter round is on all of where the top frieze meets the soffit underside on both eave and gable. And I believe, give me 1 second to look at my phone. Yeah, it's also acting. There's also a acting drip edge too, on the gables, on the fascia that would need to be replaced. But I don't think that's as beveled. I think it's more like a batten strip, like the level friezes below. It's a complicated job.
Siding is complicated.
It is complicated, isn't it? But it's like why I get up. It's why I get out of bed in the morning. You know? My dad started the company as a roofer, and when I came on board, I was like, Dad, I don't think I could just do roofs. I gotta do something interesting.
When I know you're coming back every time, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, that's all right.
So I'm good with this now.
Thank you.
You are?
Well, and I think, just to kind of chime in here, sorry, I've just been processing. If we're to take, we ask applicants to put together this presentation for us and identify what's able to be salvageable, and, if you're taking the numbers that are being presented to us, I don't know that there's a lot to say. I think that's what the point of this presentation is that not only do we have a cost differential, but I think we also have the ability to save differential here, where I think that we've got a lot of, most of the boards, if we're to look at this analysis, most of the boards are not able to be used. So then you go and start repairing before you know you've got all new anyways. So that's where my head is at. And in terms of, presenting things and doing all this. We just want to make sure that we have you go through this process and do all this documentation, because otherwise everybody be taking everything off of every house in the historic district, and then we have no historic materials left, so.
Yeah. One of the things I learned at the first meeting was like there were some contractors that would come in with unaccountable yet astronomical repair prices. And I still wanted to come into these meetings with a bit of integrity and do it as detailed as possible and really let you know like how I'm thinking about the project. Because I have a lot of liability into the project too, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. And just so you know, our commission has spent a lot of time thinking about how we evaluate these and what it makes a good presentation, so we can objectively look at projects and see, okay, this is what's salvageable, this isn't feasible financially, it's crazy to ask somebody to move forward with things like that, so.
Yeah.
We put everybody through the ringer
We do.
equally.
But it's why you have an incredible town. I was talking to somebody in St. Charles, and they have a historical district too. Right after I had come back from Italy, this is just a little anecdote for you, and I was like, historic district in Italy, if it's older than 1600s, is considered modern. And she looked me right in my eyes, and she said, well, we don't start now. And I was like, oh, it clicked. I was like, you got to start now, right? Best time to plant a tree 20 years ago, next best time, today, right? And it made sense to me. And ever since then, because I do historical work in Oak Park too, I've respected the heck out of it.
Well, I move that we accept the LP siding at 418 South Fifth Street with the stipulation that it's the smooth siding, not the cedar wood grain, excuse me.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Oh, I'll second it.
Did I not say I moved?
I don't know. I didn't remember.
I think I did, but maybe I didn't.
No, you did come out.
You were moved to the fact that, yeah.
And thank you for applying and for going through the procedure and the process and coming back. It's truly appreciated, and thank you for doing that.
No problem. Next time I'll bring cookies.
Okay.
I should have thought so. And thank you all for your feedback.
We haven't
We
voted
still have to
yet.
vote.
Oh, yeah.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Solomon, Tobler,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye.
Good luck.
Great,
Congratulations.
thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
like your time, your patience, and your education. It's really been great. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
Thank you.
it
Same.
so much.
Yeah, have a great rest of the week, everybody.
Okay.
Next up is 101 West State Street. Proposed exterior rehabilitation on a contributing property. A little bit about the history, though I'm sure most of you know about this already. Rate block property. Actually, there's a lot of history there. Okay. A contributing property in the Central Geneva Historic District, listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Original construction. Built around 1837 by Richard Adset and John Dearmond. Initially a 30 by 50 foot frame structure, serving as the Isaac Claypool store until 1843. 1853 reconstruction. Charles Padden and Scott O'Clark replaced the wooden structure with a limestone building, becoming the central hub for commerce in Geneva, known as the Old Corner. Business history. The building housed several businesses, including the post office, a barber shop in the basement, and offices for figures like William Fairsley, attorneys J. H. Mayborn and Augustus M. Harrington, and Dr. C. C. Harris. 1892 fire. A fire caused the collapse of the facade, and in 1893, a new ornate facade was built, marking the property as the Rate Block. F.S. Rate's role. F.S. Rate, an immigrant from 1853, played a key role in Geneva's development. There's more. Geneva Cash Grocery. In 1891, the Rate Block housed the Geneva Cash Grocery, and in 1898, the Rate converted the second floor into Geneva's first moving picture house. Later uses. The building later served as a dance hall and meeting space for local fraternal organizations. Remodels over time. Several remodels occurred, including replacing cast iron columns with round columns in 1946, and changes to the east storefront, which had been a saloon, then an electric shop. Little Owl Restaurant. In 1972, Henry Van Thurnout acquired the building, and the Little Owl Restaurant, later run by the Abrizani family, operated until its closing in 2019. Historic adaptation. The building serves as a prime example of how structures can adapt to new uses while still maintaining their historic architectural significance, in line with the Secretary of the Interior standards. HPC history. In January 2020, the previous applicant appeared, requesting approval to modify the existing storefronts and building entry at the property. April 2021. Previous applicant submitted a second request to the HPC, seeking approval to replace the approved fixed storefront with an operable storefront that replicated the divisions of the original 1893 storefronts. And then, in November 2023, there's a proposal. Request for masonry rehabilitation, including consolidation, replacement, and pointing, second floor window restoration, stone sill consolidation or replacement, and cornice restoration as work to be completed in 2 phases. All the work at the South State Street facade would be completed under Phase 1. The East First Street elevation would be completed under Phase 2. This was approved under 5 stipulations. 1. A report prepared by a structural engineer and submitted for review and approval by staff once the decorative pitch plate at the east storefront lintel is removed and the lintel is inspected. 2. A report prepared by a qualified mason and submitted for review and approval by staff with recommendations for material replacement at the foundation and corrective work of displaced masonry at the top of the southeast masonry pier. 3. Second floor limestone window sills be repaired with an approved masonry consolidant or, if repair is deemed impractical, replaced after a sample of any proposed replacement material is provided for review and approval by staff. However, in any case, limestone sill rehabilitation shall be uniform in treatment across the south and east facades. 4. Stamped metal cornice and parapet work is to be completed in Phase 1. There was like a typo in there, that's why they stipulated that. So I kind of fixed the typo in the proposal outline. 5. The exposed storefront column detail will be used rather than the concealed column detail as detailed in submitted architectural documents. So that's a lot there, and the applicant can refresh your memory on those as well. So the progress, per the 2023 proposal, the following will have been completed. So the masonry rehabilitation, including consolidation, replacement, pointing, has been completed. This is per Jackie's report. I sort of summarized this from hers. So what I can tell, masonry has been completed. Maybe the applicant can speak to that. And then the rest will be completed. And then in the 25 proposal, there's 4 modifications. Operable windows on the front facade, change in the location of the ramp entrance, new rear entrance in the building's basement for food and beverage access, and a reworking of the back stairs to accommodate this new entrance. And beyond that, I have included the plans here for these new proposals, so everybody can go back and see there. All right.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Kintop, and we're remodeling the building. Dean White bought the building. And we're going to redo the whole second floor, completely gut it and redo it. In doing that, we want to put the front stair back. That's how this started, is putting the front stair back. This one. So, because this has already been approved and done, as you all did that. The city gave us the $140,000 to do the work that we want to do. And then we decided there was a better way to do this since we're going to remodel the entire building. So that was what you approved originally. Oop. And then we're going to put the new stair back in all the way upstairs. So we moved the ramp over to the left and built the vestibule. That's really the only changes on the front of the building compared to what you already approved. On the back of the building, that's existing. And then we're going to put a set of stairs going down. When you see to the left, that little bit of stone that's all the way to your left, that's where we're going to put the stair going down into the basement. And we're putting a canopy over it because we have the hoods from the exhaust, the grease exhaust. We're replacing all the stairs because they're crumbly now. The railings are falling off, so that'll all get changed. And in this phase, we're going to replace all the windows, not the one because it has a standpipe in it, but the rest of them are going to be replaced with a fixed window to match what we'll be doing upstairs. The upstairs windows we won't do till we do the second floor. The downstairs, we have a little over $1 million worth of work. The upstairs is a little over $500,000. The way the tenants work, I can't get all the tenants out. We've got 4 tenants, and I can't get them out until the end of this year. So the beginning of next year is when we'll be starting that second floor work. And as long as everything goes good, then I'll get shop drawings. Jacqueline asked me for shop drawings, but I couldn't get them because I didn't have it approved yet. If this is approved, then we'll get shop drawings and resubmit those. So those are the two. We're tearing the floor out that was a little out, raising it 18 inches. So we're making a prep kitchen in the basement, completely changing the kitchen upstairs. Nick with Mannheim Architects is the one that's drawn all the facades in the front, all the interior work. And then Fred and Lisa Norris, they're doing the basement and the kitchen work. And then he'll be doing the upstairs a year from now. So with that, if it's okay, I'll leave it with Nick now, because he knows way more than I do.
Well, Nick Mannheim with Mannheim Architecture. You guys have seen me over the years for this project. So as Dennis said, really nothing's changed from the columns. We adjusted all the columns, the steel details that were asked for previous by the commission. I included those in this set as well, because those were, when we went in for a permit with the previous owner and concept, those drawings were approved, so we submitted steel details for all that. So all that's included in this, nothing that's changed. As Dennis said, we're basically moving our ramp detail to the west. We're going to use those columns that are original from the, I think, 1903 picture. So that'll become the new storefront, which stays consistent with what was there. And then putting back in stairs for the apartments. So now the apartments will now have 2 sets of egress stairs as well. And then I believe there were some comments from the last time I was here about what we were doing in the back. And we hadn't flushed all that out, and now, thanks to Fred and Lisa, we do have those details provided for this as well.
I have a question about the windows in the storefront in the front. Are those operable windows, or are they not operable?
That's proposed. So when we were here last time, we were doing the Conair trifab.
451, yeah.
Yes. So with the front-facing glazing and everything that was requested. So
Sure.
Conair has a folding operable one that would work with it. We'd have to, again, same thing, submit shop drawings, which I know is a requirement last time we were here as well.
Is that now that the profile of that's gonna get thicker, correct? I mean, substantially thicker, twice as much? I mean, if it's 2 inches now, will it be 4 inches, or will it be more than that?
From what I understand, they can, this particular system, the folding system, can mimic what we're trying to do with the trifab and work together. We would need the shop drawings to, verify all that as well.
Yeah. I guess where do we draw the line on that in the commission's view of whether, because if it's what is too much?
Well, right now, you're just looking for basically an acknowledgement of moving the ramp
In the rear as well.
in the rear.
But
And
but
then
also changing from operable to not operable?
Correct. The last time we were here, we've gone through the different variations of it. So the last time was fully fixed, non-operable, Conair, the trifab. Yes.
And would it be just the ones on the, would you say, the east end of that? Or would it be both the east end and the west,
I believe the intention is east and west.
east and west?
So it'd be the windows on either side of the new vestibules, and then the other 3 on the right.
Correct.
Well, being a longtime patron of both the Little Owl and the Flagstone Pub, I would suggest that if you have the option to not use those operable windows, because the trucks that come up, the diesel trucks that come up that hill, they're louder than heck, and they belch nothing but particulates that are gonna end up inside the restaurant. I just throw that out there for a consideration, but,
And
So-
I'm also not convinced that the profile's gonna be
yeah, and you have that
acceptable.
concern, yeah. But I'm okay with moving the ramp, that looks great, I prefer that much, you know,
Yeah.
it's much better. The back, I think that's great too, I have no problem with anything in the back,
No?
or that
It's-
stairway
it's-
going down to the basement, that works.
Does the commission have an issue? Because it is visible,
From the road.
and then we are adding a new element, but the element is on an addition to the building itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Which is
think
not,
it's
it's
not,
not really an historic portion of the building, I would say.
exactly.
So on the front of the building, is the center door still gonna be a usable?
Yes, it'll now feed the upstairs tenants.
Got it, okay, so that's gonna be totally segregated,
Yep,
got it.
yeah,
Okay.
before there weren't two access points to
there
the
was,
upstairs, was
yep,
there?
correct. I believe in,
You have to go down through the kitchen or something as for the
no,
second
you can
one?
still go, there was the set of stairs, the steel stairs that were added.
That was there, yeah.
They were wooden stairs, and I believe they replaced those, I wanna say 20, to make them steel.
Yeah,
And then that's when that previous, when it was gonna be another establishment, took out the stairs leading up to the apartment.
right.
And so that's, was part of opening up the inside with
Right.
steel and everything. So now this is kind of going back to what it was.
Right, so I was just curious.
Yep.
In the old plan, there was only, for the upstairs, there was only that one set
That
of
is correct,
stairs.
yes.
And I had questioned, I think at that time, if that was even legal, because I
Safe.
thought you needed two, you know,
Correct.
access points, and
Right.
they said, no, we checked it out with the fire chief, and he said, no, you don't need that. But I'm glad that you're putting those stairs back in the front.
Yeah.
So then you would come back to us with a proposal for the folding windows?
Correct.
Oh, you would, okay.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't have, if you're gonna, if
Yeah,
we're
no,
gonna
that's-
see them, I don't, that
Yeah.
doesn't, I don't think that's something, I don't think David wants to, staff wants to approve those.
No. Coward.
You didn't ask Jessie, maybe she would like to.
Yeah.
Can I just confirm that all of the structural issues, because we had a pretty lengthy discussion
Yes, we
about the
did.
structural issues, particularly on that
One
eastern
corner.
corner,
Corner.
Yep.
that
and
they've all been addressed.
They have, I can confirm that.
Yay.
So you can see I added the two steel details on the bottom. And that one's for the column, and then how we were gonna address the lintel. And that was verified by my structural engineer.
So was it better, worse, about what you expected when you got in there? Because I think there was some questions that.
He didn't seem to think it was as bad as it looks. But he had come up with that detail, I can't read it from here.
Yeah, I can't.
The bottom right-hand corner,
Yeah,
that detail to reinforce that lintel. So yes, we did address all of the concerns of the commission the last time when we went in for permit. So all of those things will be captured in the new permits as well.
so David, the city's good with everything that they've done in terms of still allowing the money to pay for some of the
Yeah.
phase one and phase two?
We did review the development incentive agreement against what was previously approved and this proposal. There's no need to modify that agreement
Okay,
with what's being proposed.
Okay.
Well, I thank you guys for taking this on. It's
Yeah.
been, what has it been, 5 years since anything's
long
been in
time.
there? So, yeah, it's,
I started in 19. We didn't come to you till 20, but I
Yeah.
think we started.
yeah.
So what's the current time frame?
Yeah, when's it opening?
I'm ready. I am not the problem. We hope we'll be in with the permit, we're in for permit for everything you've seen. And then hopefully be in for permit for the basement to raise the floor up.
Oh,
that work
You gotta stand up.
in the next 2 weeks. We're in for permit for what we brought to you.
Right.
And then we're gonna come in for permit for the basement to take the floor out, raise it up 18 inches so we can do a full prep kitchen in the basement. And then we'll come in for a permit for the entire restaurant, probably within the month, I hope. We're waiting on the kitchen so I can put him back to work. And then a year from now or less, Fred's already working on the drawings for upstairs. We're working through details with that. So I would hope I'm gonna be in sometime in maybe October, so I'm ready to hit it in the spring. And trying to get a dumpster from the state, so I can put the dumpster out there is just what a,
Do you need a permit from IDOT for the
dumpster.
the ramp, or just
For the ramp, so
Yes.
we have to go back in for this permit, because now that we've relocated it, I have to go get another permit.
Hopefully that won't be a.
Because that's in the right of way now?
Correct.
Or was in the right of way and now it's changed?
Right.
And it was previously approved by IDOT.
It's not, it's actually in a better location.
Yeah, correct, and it's the same detail. We're still using the same railing detail that I mimicked from the corner. So everything stayed the same basically, we just moved it. I like it actually better there too, because I think it kind of goes back to the original building, the 2 entrances. And then we're restoring that front entrance, and now it's not as blocked by a ramp.
So hopefully a little over a year from now.
Well, hopefully July or August it's open and you can go there and buy food.
Okay?
Oh,
It's not making any money today.
No.
I gotta get it open. That's my concern is because of. Because we're
Excellent.
doing Old Town
Yeah.
Pub too. We started
Oh.
demoing that.
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Very good.
Fred's doing the drawings on that one, and we hope to be in with that in the next month or so. We're almost done with the kitchen. Kitchens take a lot.
She's gonna ask you to come back up here.
Yeah, she is.
I got that voice, so I don't think about it yet. We're hoping to get in with that one as well. And we expect to have both of them open sometime in July or August. But, I've lost another month compared into my head where I was gonna be because we made changes. I think they're better for the job, better for the city, certainly better for the restaurant tour, KC from Foxfire. But, everything takes another month, so.
Is
we-
the same
we wanna
owner
go-
here as at Old Town?
KC is gonna do both restaurants,
Okay.
2 different property owners.
Okay.
And Fred took all the same details that Nick, from the front street, we put all those same details in the back. So it's all gonna flow, and we really tried to think it out so it would be good. Sorry.
Okay. So, just timeline wise, so we can approve this tonight with the stipulation that you're gonna bring back the Conair details and a shop drawing almost of the Conair details to approve at the next meeting, basically, in
Yeah.
a month from now.
Sounds reasonable.
And that we're okay with the movement of the,
I don't see
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
having an issue with moving it.
no, or the stairwell in the back.
Yeah. The stairwell in the back seems pretty,
Yeah.
it, like I said, it's not on the historic portion of the building. It's not,
It's in the back.
it's in the back.
It'll
But
look
it will
better.
improve
Yes.
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, can I get a motion to approve it with that stipulation of the Conair details?
Okay. Move to approve the proposal for 101 West State Street as presented with the stipulation that at a future date, the detailed drawings for the Conair system for the windows be presented.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
ask for a point of clarification? Do we want to reiterate the stipulations from the 2023 approval?
We probably do, in that the stipulations are that basically,
The 5 stipulations noted in the 2023.
well, I think it's more of the.
Those right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
that-
the ramp,
that those-
yeah.
Those carry over?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Tobler,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye. Thank
Rock
you very
on.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Not open for Swedish days.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, next up is staff secretary's report.
Yeah, so I only know what is on here, but there have been 10 building permits that have been administratively approved. An intensive level survey has been completed by Jacqueline Bowling and Michael Lambert before her combined. And I did not mean to leave that highlight, but yes, there will be a staff change just because of Jackie leaving us. So those are the staff updates.
So the new survey is done.
Yes.
Will it be presented to us with the new staff person?
Yeah, so that's the next step, is the forms have all been completed and double-checked for typos and errors. The next step is to figure out how to present that to the commission and to the public. Our goal is to try to make it an interactive mapping tool, because I think that would be the easiest way to digest 600 different forms. And you can also create different reports from that software too.
Is it a GIS program,
It would be,
basically?
it would be a GIS program. So that's what we're trying to figure out now, how to put that into a mapping software to share it with the commission and the public and get it adopted.
So it's gonna be, we would approve it after, I would think, it's presented to us, and then probably give us a little bit of time to review it.
Right.
And then we'd approve it, and then it'd go to city council for its approval,
I
based
do-
on our recommendation.
I do think it does need council approval, yes. I think it's been a long time in the making. and It's
Yes.
going to be a very useful tool for not only staff and the commission, but for the general public as
Yeah.
well.
Very much. Okay, good.
So we were in the midst of kind of revamping a little bit the siding policy. Are we still working on that, or, not to talk about siding again, but that was still hanging out there.
Yeah.
I know you had reviewed a few drafts, correct?
Right.
Correct?
So we haven't lost sight of that, but
Okay.
cut me a break for.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just asking, I'm just not criticizing.
Yeah, we will pick that back up.
What's more
I know-
important is to find a replacement.
Yeah,
you know.
we've already updated the checklist as the commission
Right.
Oh.
wanted to clarify
Yeah.
the application requirements, so we've already updated that, posted that on the website, and are using that going forward.
Okay.
And how is the search going?
We've had some good candidates apply. We've only had one interview so far. So we have more scheduled this week, and hopefully we have a hard decision to make.
Any fired employee from the NPS that's interested?
Ooh, that was tough.
Yes?
Okay.
Otherwise, I think we're also looking for a replacement for a recording secretary, as that contract is not being
What?
renewed.
Oh.
So if we don't see Anna next month, this may be our last meeting. And
Well,
then
thank you, you've been great.
Yeah.
I think next month we will also be celebrating not celebrating his departure, but Commissioner Stason is not asking to be reappointed for another term. So we'll have another vacancy on the commission come May 1st.
Because he will be at the April 15th meeting?
He will, yes.
Okay. Good.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any new business from the commission?
No.
If not, okay. And then, any public comment? Please state your name.
What a shocker.
And maybe you all should see if you know my name, and we'll start with it now. Al Watts, Preservation Partners. I just have a couple events that are coming up just to let you know about, and then also just a point that I've probably made several times, but I feel like I gotta make it again. So first of all, what's coming up? The Villa and Garden open on May 3rd, so come visit. We'll be open Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays from noon to 3. If you want to take a guided tour, those are 11. Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. There's that. We have a professor of historic preservation from the University of Illinois. She's been there for about a year. She's going to be coming to present May 13th at 7 o'clock at the Baker Community Center. She's going to be giving a presentation. It's called A Sense of Where You Are, but basically it's about the value of sense of place. And I will be giving her a personal tour of the Tri-Cities, so she gets this understanding of what historic preservation is going on in our little neck of the woods. And then the last thing I was just going to bring up is one of the things that your neighboring communities have that I think could help Geneva. Geneva's had it before, which is a facade grant program. There are some cases that have come before you that potentially you would be able to push for the historic materials for things if you had a grant program, because the grant could take, for example, for a commercial structure that's, I believe, has to be over 100 years old in St. Charles, which is the Beath House, for example, which is what our building is in downtown St. Charles. We're able to get up to $30,000 of matching funds from them to do work, and we have taken advantage of that. We've been able to get a little over $15,000 from them to do some work, gutters and roof and some soffit fascia and crown molding on the house. So it's something that Geneva had in the past, and it's gone away, and it would be great if that's something that could come back, because I think that there's some cases where the price difference between a non-historic material and historic material could be made up or partially made up by a grant that the city offered. So that's it.
David, is that,
So the city
was there
would
no
offer
facade?
Yes.
I thought there was still a facade grant program for commercial, or is that gone?
It's not a specific facade grant program, but
Okay.
as we had with Little Owl, we did have an economic development
Okay.
incentive agreement to take care of some of the preservation work that needed to be done. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis, but not a specific like facade program that we have now.
So St. Charles has it and Batavia?
Correct.
They both have it. And the May 13th presentation, what time was that, Al?
7 o'clock
7 p.m.
p.m. Yes.
Not a.m.
Not a.m. No.
Do I
We're
get,
going to put her up in the Baker Hotel and the whole thing. So
do I get AIA credits for going to that? Do you know?
no, but we could make some for you.
Okay.
I could ask her, honestly. That's
Yeah,
possible. I
yeah.
mean, she is a professor
Yeah.
of architecture and preservation, so I'll have to
Oh,
ask her about
that's-
that.
And that'd be good. 7 p.m. is a good time, too.
Yeah. So you'll get more information about that as we come. You'll have to, register just so,
Oh, I
because
was
we have a
gonna-
limit.
Do we have to register?
Yeah. I think the auditorium, I think, holds 120 people, so,
Will we register with you?
Yes.
Okay,
yep, through our website, which is, I was working on today, but it's not done.
okay.
So, and if you guys have a meeting in April, I'll tell you about it again, and I'll make sure David gets it. He can send it to you guys too. So I think it'd be a really good thing for you guys
Yeah.
to learn what she has to say. So
Yeah,
pretty cool stuff.
cool. I'll be there.
Good. Any questions?
Yeah, that grant program it's in St. Charles and Batavia, is that for residences also?
Yes,
Okay.
so I'm going off of a little bit of memory here, but my memory is that, and I know St. Charles is much better than Batavia's, well, actually, we've applied for St. Charles. So the last several years, their grant program they've funded it with $60,000. It's a matching grant, and homeowners can get $5,000, and commercial can get $10,000, and, $20,000 for commercial. Homeowners can get $5,000 matching grant. And properties, I think, that are over 100 years old can get up to $30,000, and that's over a 5-year period matching grant. So, for example, we put in we got about $15,000, and this year, assuming they fund it again in May, which we expect, we're going to be asking them for another $5,000 to do the repointing of the Beef House. And it's really nice for us. But if you've been in downtown St. Charles on the east side, the former Osgood building, which is the building that's on the south side of Main Street, it's basically across the street from the municipal center. All the whole front facade was all redone and painted. It looks fantastic, and they got facade grant to help them with that too. So it's not just the nonprofits begging them for money. And we've seen somebody got some columns replaced. They're these rope columns that because of the grant, she was able to afford to be able to get the same exact look out of actual wood. So, it's a benefit.
Do you know where the two cities draw their funds from?
Just their general funds, as far as I understand. Yeah, I mean, the idea is economic development, right? So to help the downtown areas look better, in particular in the historic areas to look better, to help them, with projects. Another example, I just remembered, there's some window replacements. They were being a non-historic windows that they were replacing, and they were going to use vinyl, which the commission would have probably allowed because they're non-historic to start with. But they convinced them to use fiberglass instead and give them grant money so they could afford the difference. So they're a much better quality window for the property owner, and they look a lot better than the crappy vinyl ones they would have had to put in there otherwise. Just some ideas for thought. What's going on?
We need that, David.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with Catherine once before, but it's been a while, and I know you guys got a budget process and the whole thing. I just thought I'd bring it back up to you guys. So, thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? All right.